Well, we're working our way through the Torah, right, guys? Anybody remember what we talked about last?
Joseph?
Not quite yet. Almost. We're almost to Joseph. We were talking about Joseph's dad, Jacob. Remember Jacob?
Is it the one in Egypt or the one with Mary and...
Oh, that was married. That was Jesus' earth father. Yeah. No, we're sticking to the Old Testament here, so we're talking Egypt. Good question, G2.
I don't know what to think of in my head.
Okay, so hopefully you don't feel too poked with a stick just yet, but that is what diligently means. You poke him with a stick and say, obey. I'm not moving forward.
It's not working. Oh, I think she just has to do it.
Oh, it just took a little while? Okay, so this Torah portion is Vayisha, and that was actually last week. Remember, we weren't here last week because of the storm, because of the snow? Yeah, so we got to do 2 Torah portions again this week. So we're going to move fast, all right? So, Elliot, I got to move fast, so hold your questions in as much as you can, okay? All right.
Because I always learn about Jesus and...
Yeah, I know you know a lot of stuff. And I'm thinking next year you can teach, okay? All right. Aisha. It opens with Joseph, and it says, that Jacob has settled near where his father was when he died, which was Hebron. And it says Jacob and Esau buried him. And that's the last thing from the previous Torah portion. And then we open, and we don't know much. Kind of like Jesus, we don't know much about when Joseph was young. There's not really any stories recorded in the Bible about when Joseph was young. When the story opens, he's 17 years old. And the first thing that happens is he gets sent out with some of his brothers. And I don't know what they did. The Bible doesn't record it, but they did something bad. And you know what Joseph did? He tattled. He tattled, yeah. He brought the report. And it was a bad report about his brothers. Do you think his brothers like that?
No.
Do you like it when your brother tattles on you? No. So they weren't very happy about that. And the next thing that happens is Joseph has some dreams. And in these dreams, he has 2 different dreams. The first dream, he's out gathering grain with his brothers, and their sheaves all bow down to his sheaf, but his sheaf stands upright. And they're like, yeah. Going to be, that'll be the day when we bow down to you, Joseph. They don't really like him, no. And then he has another dream, and the stars, 11 stars, and the sun and the moon bow down to him. And this is interpreted as his brothers and his father and his mother bowing down to him. You think anybody's happy about that?
No.
Yeah, it says Jacob rebuked Joseph. You know what rebuke means? Yeah.
It means like reject.
Kind of, yeah. It's like your dad gets after you and he's serious about it. He's like, you should not have done that. Okay? That's a rebuke. Okay? Now, maybe he wasn't rebuking him for the dream. I mean, God gave the dream. And Jacob probably wouldn't, but he might have rebuked him for telling the story. Maybe it wasn't the right time to tell the story. We don't know. The Bible doesn't say, I am supposing. So always remember that. All right. So first we had the report, and then we had the dreams. And then we had the coat. It says that Jacob gave Joseph a special coat. Now, some translations will say it was a multicolored coat. Others just say the interpretation means it was a long-sleeved coat. Doesn't really matter what it looked like. It was a special coat, and it had a special meaning. And you know what that meaning was? I like you best. Yeah?
And his brothers were mad, and he took off his coat.
Yeah, we haven't got to that part yet. Hang on, Elliot. Okay? We're almost there. We're almost there. All right. And the coat also probably meant that when Jacob died, that Joseph was going to be the leader of the family. How do you think the brothers felt about that? I mean, he's not the firstborn. He's the firstborn of the loved wife, Rachel. But he's not the firstborn. Do you remember who's the firstborn?
Wasn't it
Reuben, yes. Very good, G2.
Saw what they were doing. He told them to stop, and they didn't stop, right?
Right. Reuben was the true firstborn, but unfortunately, Reuben got into some trouble, and he got disqualified as firstborn. So now Joseph is in line, okay? So we had the report, we had the dreams, now we got the coat. How mad do you think the brothers are? Yeah, pretty mad. Super mad, you're right, Elliot. Super mad.
And they
So then we have the revenge. Interesting how the E ended up on the bottom. That wasn't the way I made it.
threw him in the pit.
They do. They throw him in a pit. So Jacob sends him out to check on his brothers. They're out grazing the livestock, and he sends them out, and they see him coming. They're like, look, there's that dreamer coming. Let's get rid of him. Let's get rid of him. And so when he gets there, what do they do, Elliot?
He took his, I think, as a slave, and he put him in a.
They put him in a pit first.
Yeah.
See the picture? They put him in a pit first, and then they decide they're going to sell him as a slave.
Yeah.
Okay? And who does he get sold to? The Ishmaelites
Israel.
or the Midianites?
Israel.
Actually lists both of them. How confusing. Who did he sell him to?
Israelites.
The Egyptians.
Well, eventually the Egyptians, yes, but first they sell him to some traders.
Oh, traders.
Yes.
I didn't really get
Yeah?
They were Ishmaelite traders, and the Ishmaelites are related to Abraham because
Yes, they are. And we're going to talk. You could teach this class too. We're going to talk about that in the very next slide. Okay? But the Bible records in different verses that they sold him to the Ishmaelites, but then another verse it'll record he was sold to the Midianites. So who was it? Actually both. It was actually both. And we're going to see how that could possibly happen. Okay. So this is a chart, and you see Abraham's up there at the top. He's the first generation. And then he had some sons. With Hagar, he had Ishmael. And with Sarah, he had Isaac. And with Keturah, he had Midian.
Isaac.
So the Midianites and the Ishmaelites are both descendants of Abraham. Okay, and you go down to the next one. Ishmael had a son, and Isaac had a son, Jacob, and Midian had a son. And then, I don't know the fourth generation on the Midianite side. I just called it Eliphaz Jr. Okay, there was somebody, and Joseph and Kedar. Okay, so who did they actually sell him to? Well, Ishmael went off away from Abraham first. Do you remember that story? That Ishmael and Hagar got sent away after they made fun of Isaac? Remember that? Okay, yeah, hang on, Elliot. I got to get through this, and then I'll let you ask, okay? All right. So Ishmael went off first. Midian left home later, and it's recorded that he settled in the land of the Ishmaelites. So it's kind of like saying, I'm an Iowan, but I'm also an American. The Midianites were Midians, but they were also referred to as Ishmaelites because they lived in the land of Ishmael. Okay, Elliot. Okay, I'm going to let you think about it a little bit longer. Go ahead, G2.
So what you're saying is it's kind of like their lifestyle is, I'll give you an example. So it's basically where your lifestyle is like Iowan, say, but your heritage or something like that is like, let's say, Indian or something. Is that what you're
Yeah, it's like I'm an Iowan, okay, but I also live in the United States, so I'm an American. Okay, kind of the same. All right, and hang on just one more second, Elliot. And in the light of kind of the same, I'm going to try to bring this home. Jacob was sold to his cousins.
What?
Well, look, they're all related to Abraham. He was sold to his cousins. It's kind of like, for you three, Grandma Wendy would be the first generation. Abraham was the first generation. Grandma Randy is the second generation. That's like Isaac. And then you have Aunt Tara and your mom Sarah. They're like the third generation. And then you have the cousins down here, right? Micah, Ellie, Grant, Augie, and Elliot. It's kind of like Grant and Augie get together and go, they call Micah and Ellie up and they say, hey, we're selling Elliot. You want in?
Yeah, I'm not. Stop. Me after I realized that it's all my favorite things. Hey, are you guys free? We're gonna sell it now.
We're going to sell Elliot.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay? Okay, now I did all that because I want you to understand, how did Joseph feel about this? Not only did his brothers turn on him, his cousins are dragging him down to Egypt and selling him into slavery.
I don't think they knew they were cousins.
I think they probably did. At least they knew they had a common ancestor. I think they all knew Abraham was their ancestor. I mean, think about it. You know Grandma Wendy, right?
Yeah.
All of those guys knew Grandpa Abraham. It was the same number of generations, 4 generations. Yeah.
I haven't seen her in so
A lot of them, Abraham was probably alive when a lot of them were born.
No.
Who?
No.
Who?
No.
Well, like,
Who? Like what people? Like the Midianites or what?
yeah, both sides. Like Nevaiyot and Eliphaz. Abraham was probably alive when they were born. And maybe even Kedar.
No, I know what you're trying to say, but I couldn't understand like who you were talking about.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I want you to put yourself in Joseph's shoes and go, wow, not only my brothers turned on me, my whole family has turned against me. All of my relatives, they've all turned against me. Just a second, Elliot. Okay. Now, what do you think Joseph's last hope is? He's being sold off into slavery. What's on his mind? What's he thinking?
A job?
My dad. Very good, G2. My dad will come and get me. My dad will make this right. So he's going off to Egypt, and his hope is in Jacob. Right? Okay. It says the brothers took Joseph's robe and they dipped it in some goat's blood. It was a male goat. And they took it to Jacob and they said, do you recognize this coat? And of course he did, right? And so what did Jacob think? My son's robe, some wild animal has torn him in pieces. Okay, Elliot, and then you, Juju. You want to think about it some more?
I was going to say he was mad.
Oh, I bet he was mad, but I think more than mad, I think he was very, very sad.
You rhymed it.
That was
Yeah, but I'm not Dr. Seuss.
Anyway, what I was gonna say is, in the modern world, people could authenticate that if they marked.
Oh yeah, they could have done DNA studies, and he would have known it wasn't Joseph's. Wait a minute, this is goat blood. Yeah, no, but they didn't have that then.
I know they didn't.
That's a good point, though. Okay, and then something strange happens. Right in the middle of the story of Joseph, we have this chapter about Judah and what happens to Judah. Now, what do we remember about Judah? Judah was the one that says, let's sell him. What point is there in killing him? Judah said, let's sell him. Judah was the one that led that idea, okay? And so we start to talk about Judah. Got a lot to go, Elliot. Okay, quick.
I thought Judah was good.
Judah is good, but he didn't start out good. Okay, God had to do some work on Judah, and I believe that's what this chapter is all about. Says Judah leaves the family and goes off and lives by himself. Why do you think he did that? I think maybe he felt guilty about what he did to Joseph. Doesn't say, just says Judah went away from the family. And he married a Canaanite woman. And he had 3 sons by the Canaanite woman. And you know what happened?
They all died in the way?
2 of them. 2 of them died. And God said they died because they were evil. Very, very bad.
What did they do?
They were just bad. We're just going to go with they were just bad.
So they were even murdered.
Actually, it doesn't really say what the oldest did. It's just that he was so evil that God put him to death. Okay? And so then his wife dies. Okay, Judah's having a tough time here. Okay? First his oldest son dies, then his second son dies, and then his wife dies.
Very emotional.
And what do you think that's doing to Judah's heart?
Breaking it.
Yes. He's starting to understand what he did to his father when he told him that Joseph was dead. It broke his father's heart. Now Judah's starting to understand. That's bad. That hurts. I don't like that. And we're going to see in the next Torah portion how that changes Judah. And it does. It changes him. He does have 2 more sons with a woman named Tamar and another pair of twins, Perez and Sarah. And these are going to become more important as we move on. So I just wanted to introduce them at this point. These are the sons of Judah. And these are going to be the sons of promise. These are the sons that are going to carry forth the covenant. Meanwhile, Joseph gets to Egypt and he gets sold. It says he gets sold into Potiphar's house. And it was not too bad there. In fact, Potiphar really liked Joseph. And he's like, I'm going to put you in charge of everything. Everything in my household, all of my affairs, you're in charge of them. And God prospered Potiphar because of Joseph. But there was a problem. A little problem. Actually, the big problem. Potiphar's wife. Potiphar's wife decided she liked Joseph. And she wanted him. And he's like, no, I can't, no way, I can't do that. You're married to Potiphar. That would be wrong. I can't do that. Well, that didn't make her very happy. It made her mad. And so she told Potiphar lies about Joseph. And the lies were so bad that Potiphar put Joseph in jail. He put him in a prison. And some time went by. Now, okay, let's do just a short review on Joseph so far. God sends Joseph these dreams, and he says, you're going to be great. People are going to bow down to you. And what's the very next thing that happens to him? He gets thrown in a well. And then he gets sold into slavery. And then he gets falsely accused. And then he gets put in prison. And it's like, nobody's bowing down to me. Where, what are you talking about, God? Yeah?
Jail is probably, I'm guessing, more horror than it is today. Because, they didn't really have the resources we do.
No, you're right. It was probably pretty good. He did find favor in prison with the manager of the prison. And I think it probably afforded him a little more freedom, maybe slightly better accommodations. But still, he was in prison going, God, this is not what you said was going to happen to me. Do you remember another story where somebody was saying, God, this is not what you said?
I think it was Joseph? No, wasn't it Jonah?
No, remember Abraham?
Oh, yeah.
God said, I'm going to give you a son, and he waited 25 years. Remember that? Well, now Joseph hasn't waited 25 years yet, but we're thinking about 11 at this point. It's about 11 years since he gave the bad report. And he finds himself in prison, and he gets a couple of new prisoners, and they have some dreams. And these dreams are troubling them. And Joseph sees them, and he says, what's bothering you guys? And they said, well, we had these dreams, and we don't know what they mean. And so Joseph said, tell me the dreams, and I'll tell you what they mean. Well, one of them was Pharaoh's cupbearer, and one of them was Pharaoh's baker, and they told him the dreams. And Joseph said to the cupbearer, your dream means in 3 days you're going to go back to Pharaoh, and you're going to be his cupbearer again. But to the baker, he said, your dream means in 3 days Pharaoh's going to put you to death. And that's exactly what happened. The cupbearer went back to his regular position, and the baker was killed, executed.
Why did he get killed?
It doesn't really say. It just said it happened.
I mean, I get the Bible.
Okay, and now we're finally to this week's Torah portion. That was all last week. Okay, this week's Torah portion, McKitts? Actually, that's Joseph.
Yeah, he grew up in
Okay, and we find out that Pharaoh had some dreams. He had one dream where there was a bunch of fat cows, and then a bunch of lean cows came and ate up the fat cows.
I think I like those cows better.
And then he had the skinny cows. You see their ribs?
I like the
They were still skinny even after they ate the fat cows.
skinny cows though.
Yeah.
It would be nice.
you wouldn't like the famine that goes with them.
If they were less hostile or something, it would probably be better.
Yeah. And he woke up and he's like, wow, that was weird. And he went back to sleep and he had another dream. And it was very similar, except it was grain. And there was healthy grain, and then bad grain came and ate up the healthy grain. And he woke up again and is like, that's really weird. I got to get somebody to talk to me about this. And he went to all the people in his court that would know about those things, and nobody could tell him what the dreams meant. And then the cupbearer said, wait a minute, 2 years ago when I was in prison, there was a young man there, and he interpreted my dream, and his interpretation was true. And so Pharaoh sent for Joseph. And Joseph said, he says, I need you to interpret this dream for me. And Joseph said, I don't know how to interpret dreams. I don't know anything about it. It isn't in me. God will give Pharaoh an answer that will set his mind at peace. And so Pharaoh told Joseph his dreams, and Joseph told him it means that there's going to be 7 years of famine, or 7 years of famine coming, but first you will have 7 years of great plenty. So we should save up food during the plenty years so we have food during the famine years.
Good resources.
So Pharaoh said, wow, you're really smart. I'm going to put you in charge of everything. And so they stored up grain. And they've actually found some silos like this.
Wait, they found it in real life?
Yes, some in archaeological digs. They have found some of these giant silos that this grain was kept in. So Joseph stored up the grain in quantities like the sand on the seashore. Can you imagine? So much that they stopped counting because it was beyond measure. They stored a lot of grain.
I'm guessing.
Okay? And then we're going to go through this pretty quickly because there's a lot of back and forth. But the famine wasn't just in Egypt, it was everywhere. And so Jacob sent his sons down to Egypt to buy food.
What was the ratio of the famine?
7 years of plenty and then 7 years of famine.
No, like the ratio span. Like not the ratio math.
Like how far did it go?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't really know. The Bible doesn't really record. Anybody know from extra biblical accounts?
It just says it covered the whole land.
Yeah, when the kids and I were researching it this week, because Michael was curious, it said there's extra biblical research and archaeology that shows records from like the Hivites who were up north, and there, which I think, I don't remember if it was like as north as like Turkey or Syria, somewhere up there, that they were coming down like to get grain, and so it spread all across. It says it was the whole world.
Oh, it was the whole world?
Well, the known world at that time.
Yeah, the known world, not like the other. Okay.
I don't think anybody sailed from America to get food in Egypt. I don't think. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I don't think so.
What if they were that desperate though? You never know.
Well, yeah. And maybe the famine wasn't there. Maybe it limited itself to that
Maybe
continent.
The natives were just like, you know what? We got plenty of food. We can just sit here and relax.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so anyway, Jacob and his family, they needed food. And so he sent his sons down to buy food in Egypt, but he kept Benjamin at home. Benjamin is who? Joseph's younger brother. Joseph's younger brother. Right, now, do you remember when Jacob went to Uncle Laban and he saw Rachel and it was like love at first sight? Yeah. Jacob never stopped loving Rachel with all his heart. And so because he thinks Joseph is dead, Rachel had two sons, Joseph and Benjamin. And he thinks Joseph is dead. So how tight is he going to hang on to Benjamin? Pretty tight, right?
As tight as your life.
Yeah, because remember, Rachel's dead now too. Okay? So he keeps Benjamin at home and he sends the other brothers down. Well, Joseph recognizes his brothers, but they don't recognize him. Why do you think they don't recognize Joseph?
It's been at least 2 years, 3 years.
It's been like 12 years now.
Oh wait, I didn't include the prison time.
But still, wouldn't you recognize your brother even though it'd been 12 years?
Yeah.
He's 11.
I would recognize him.
He's 11 and a half.
I think he didn't recognize Joseph because Joseph looked like an Egyptian.
Yeah, that's probably what gave it away.
Yeah. It's like, he's an Egyptian. That's not a Hebrew. That's not our brother Joseph. That's an Egyptian. But Joseph recognizes them, and so he decides to test them a little bit. Okay? So he's like, you're not here to buy grain. You're spies.
You're spies.
And they're like, no. And it goes back and forth and goes back and forth. And finally he says, all right, if you're going to prove your story, because they told him about their father, so now he knows dad's still alive. What do you think that did to him? Dad's still alive and he hasn't come for me in 12 years.
Oh my gosh.
Why is that? Don't you think you'd wonder that? I would.
Yeah, well, he probably didn't know who he is.
Well, he doesn't know. He doesn't know that Jacob thinks he's dead.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say that.
okay.
He did not know.
So he finds out his father's still alive. He finds out his brother is alive. And he wants to see his brother. So he tells them, you go back home. I'll give you some grain this time. But you go back home, and if you come here again, Benjamin better be with you. Your brother better be with you. Then I'll know your story's true. And just to make sure, he keeps Simeon. He puts Simeon in prison and lets the rest of the brothers go back. Well, of course, this upsets Jacob.
Did Reuben die?
No, Reuben's still alive.
Wait, who was
Okay.
the two brothers one of the 12 that died? One of them that died, besides Joseph. One of them that died. I know that one of them died besides Joseph.
No, just Judah lost a couple of sons, and Rachel has died. Okay. Anyway, so they come back, and they have Benjamin with him, and this makes Joseph very happy. But he decides to test him a little bit more, and he hides his cup in Benjamin's sack, and they leave, and then it's found, and he said, "How dare you steal from me? Now, you will have Benjamin is going to have to be my slave because he stole from me." It's looking bad. It's looking bad. And they still don't know it's Joseph, okay? And so the brothers go back home. I'm backtracking on the story a little bit. So the brothers go home and they say, we can't go back down and buy more grain unless Benjamin is with us. And Jacob says, no way, I'm not sending Benjamin. And Reuben says, if I don't bring him back to you, you can kill my own 2 sons. Put him in my care and I will return him to you. What would you think if your dad said that? What? Well, if I don't bring him back, you can kill Augie and G2. Exactly. Exactly. That's no big,
I'll go to heaven.
It's like, Reuben, what are you saying here? Okay?
I'll go to heaven.
But later on, when they're talking about it again, Judah steps forward. Now remember Judah, he's suffered some sorrow and stuff, right? Now, Judah has changed. Judah said, sell him into slavery. But now what does he say? Judah said to Israel, his father, send the boy with me. I myself will guarantee his safety. Basically, he's saying, I will lay my life down for Benjamin if I don't bring him back to you. Okay? And now what's happened? Benjamin is going to be made a slave to Joseph because the cup was found in his sack. And what does Judah say? There's nothing we can say to my Lord. He's speaking to Joseph. There's nothing we can say to you, Joseph. How can we speak? There's no way we can clear ourselves. God has revealed our guilt. So here we are, my Lord's slaves, both we and also the one whose possession the cup was found. And this story is going to continue next week, so be sure you're here because it's awesome. Okay? So Judah's like, man, what am I going to do now? I promised Dad I'd bring him home, and we're in a bad spot. Okay? All right. What's our Hebrew letter?
6.
Vav. Kind of like a tent peg. There's something you would hang something on. Okay? And it's also the number 6. 6. Okay? Here's some words that start with Vav. One of them is the Torah portion last week. Vaishva starts with the letter Vav. It's right there where the picture of Joseph is when he's young. Another one that we knew pretty well is Vayikra, which is the book of Leviticus. The Hebrew name for the book of Leviticus is Vayikra, and that starts with a Vav. And a rose, by any other name, would smell as sweet. It starts with a Vav and a Vared. Vared. Vav, Resh, Dalet. Okay, you guys know Dalet, so you know 2 of those letters already. This is how we make a Vav. Notice that there's a slight slant as you're making the top part, and then it goes straight down.
I think you
The letter's having a stroke.
Yeah, it does. Okay, Miss Kathy's got all kinds of activities for you to do. Do you have 2 weeks worth, Kathy, or just one? Just one?
I'm going in.
Okay.